Welcome to Cooking with Attila. Now today I'm going to be showing you how to make salmon deviled eggs. Now these salmon deviled eggs are going to be used at a barbecue fundraiser that we're doing for our film noir, Greek film noir, Dogs, Dames, and Trouble. Now, it's pretty easy to do, very simple recipe, a lot of ingredients though, but however, depending on how many you're making, for example, I'm making about 120, so it's a little more expensive. But that's just the nature of the beast. So, moving on. Any good deviled egg recipe, of course, includes eggs. So, how do you make hard-boiled eggs? Well, my friends, you boil some water. You put the eggs in. You let it wait in the water. And it's hard. It's boiled. It's hard-boiled. Nothing, of course, like watching a watched pot boil. And yes, a watched pot does boil. So it is getting a little warm. Of course, it's a huge pot, and I'm just doing it on this because it's like I'm in my little office here. I don't really have much because it's not really meant for living. But anyway, so I'm here editing all night long. And yeah, let's just put this back on here. Okay. Now, while that's doing its thing, let's go through the ingredients. So, in this version of deviled salmon eggs, first of all, well, one thing you need is cheese. Cheese. There it is. This here is, of course, oh, you can't read that label? Oh, I'm too close. There we go. Is the Chateau de Bonguan. And, of course, our producer, Maggie Gauthier, is probably going to heinously destroy me for that pronunciation. Wow, you'd think I'd know English. Okay, let's continue. Moving along. No more cheese. Enough of the cheese. What do we need next? Next. Mutard. We need some mutard. Now this mutard is with horseradish, yes. Why? Because I like horseradish. Need some of that. Moving on. Next. Now, of course, to any good salmon is going to need salmon. Now, of course, in this case, tomorrow we will have fresh salmon, but I'm just using this one right now, this smoked barbecued piece, just so I can test this out until tomorrow. There we go. Putting that aside. Maybe not against there. It's hot. There we go. Moving along. Cream cheese. Paprika. Cumin. Tomato. Whichever you prefer. Or both. Dill. Lemon juice. Avocado. Sour cream. Mayo. Capers. Pepper. And, well, of course, every successful deviled egg recipe has one of the most important ingredients. Well, I guess if you consider it important, but nonetheless, we also need eggs for this recipe. Now, yes, that's a lot of eggs. But anyways, eggs nonetheless, they're large, they're free range, they're eggs. Okay, so the next thing that you're going to need is eventually you're going to take out the yolk, the hardened yolk, from the white of the egg. Right? So you're going to need a bowl. No bowl, apparently. I thought there was a bowl in there. That's okay, we've got one down here. Huh. Okay. There's apparently not one down there either, but that's okay. I'll get back to you. I'm gonna remedy that situation somehow. Okay, now what I have here instead is an electric blender. Now whether, of course, it all fits in here, who's to know, but eventually you're gonna have to mix all the ingredients together, so I might as well put it into here now. I'm pretty sure I can get 60 or so yolks in here. Now, of course, you don't need to take all of your ingredients out, such as your mayonnaise and so forth. You want to keep those in the fridge, because again, It's not going to do it. So mayonnaise, sour cream, you can leave that in the fridge, right? Other things like capers, you can leave that out. Lemon juice, you can keep that out. Oh yeah, in this case, I have got some caviar I'll be adding onward. Nice decoration. Put that in the fridge if you're going to use caviar. You don't need the expensive stuff. It's perfectly fine, right? 50 gram like this costs you about $20, depending on the brand. Higher quality, this is not salmon. It is black lumpfish. But a higher quality salmon, you're looking at about $100 to $150 for 50 grams, depending, of course, where you're buying, what the company is, and so forth. Your cream cheese, you want that room temperature, so put that there. The cheese that I picked up, which is Chateau de Bourgogne. This, of course, you want to keep in the fridge. It's already a very soft cheese. It's sort of earthy-ish. We're going to keep that in there because we don't want that getting to room temperature. We're not mixing it in. It's just an add-on later on. So that goes in the fridge. Your dill, you can by all means keep that out, have it standing by, not a problem. Your fish, in this case, I've got barbecue, I'm going to leave that out, but I am using fresh fish tomorrow. Eggs I'll leave because they're being boiled as it is. Okay, so now while we have some time, we're just going to jump ahead a little bit. I do hear the water is boiling now. Okay, we're close. Not exactly boiling, but we're going to get to that point. Okay, so now, either way, we're going to need to get some ingredients going here to save some time, definitely. Alright, so, now you don't want to use all of this because you can use some for decoration and, it's really strong. Alright, so take some of your dill, just want to put some aside here, tear it up with your hands, doesn't need to be fancy, right? It's delicious, it's great, right? Good for the colon, I have no idea. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. What do I know? I'm just a chef. Anyways, let's move on. Yes, a side note for those who aren't aware, before I became a film producer, I was a chef. Okay, back to what we're doing. Cooking live here. Right, now, so, again, you're not using all of this. In my case, ignore what I'm doing because of the fact that, of course, I am making a larger amount than any of you out there probably will. But if you are, by all means, do whatever you feel is necessary and just enjoy it, have some fun with it. There's not exactly a rule, you just go with it. Right, again, the more experience you get, the more you're going to realize that there is no rule, you just go with it. Right, so, coming up next after this, moving on to our next ingredient. So I'll see you momentarily. Now, basically, a really good way to do eggs is to drop in your eggs before your water starts to boil, okay? And when it gets to boiling point and it boils, then what you can do is do a time about 10 to 15 minutes after boiling point, and then after that point it's hard enough that it's a real good hard-boiled egg, and it's the perfect time to do deviled eggs. Now, of course, before we cut into these, you are definitely going to have to put them in the fridge for some time. Now, so putting these all in here, again, I'm making a heck of a lot more than most people would, but, what can I say? Oh my gosh, I'm destroying my kitchen. That's okay. Anyways, so, another notch. Right, anyways, so, moving on. Putting these in here, yeah, that's hot. Be careful out there, kids. Okay, so dropping this in here. Now, also, do not... Oh, no worries. Don't throw your carton out because it's a great storage for after you've got your eggs actually deviled. Whatever that means, I'm not quite sure why they're being deviled. We'll get to that later on. Okay, so, continue on with the eggs. As I mentioned, I've got a heck of a lot more. Well, you see, I've got 12. Now, 12 eggs will give you 24 deviled eggs because you're cutting them in half. So if I've got 12 times 3, for all you math whizzes out there, it's a number. And then, of course, you divide that number by 2, it's another number. Anyways, point is, it's going to feed a heck of a lot of people. This is filling up. Now, don't forget you've also got to account for the amount of water and the amount of eggs that are going in there. Now, as of course I can see, I've got a lot more water than I really need in there now, so I'm just going to go in there, take some out. We're back. Now, continuing with the deviled eggs, I've got the eggs in the water, they're boiling. I've quoted Emerald, I've quoted Rachel Ray. I don't know what we can do next exactly, but let's move on. Naked Chef. How about Naked Chef? You know what I'm going to do? Every time we come back for a new ingredient, I'm going to have one less piece of clothing on. How about that? No, I think it looked good. We'll get the ratings up. Let's start now. I'll take the t-shirt off.
However, I do want to keep this PG so kids can watch it as well. Forget it. You know what? Here's just a half-naked picture of me. And we're done. Okay, so, moving on. Now, so, stay. We've got that going. We've got your dill. And I'm not talking about your husband anyways. I'm sure he is one though. Salmon. Now, the salmon, of course, is not going to come into play until about halfway through your recipe. So, you don't need to really worry about that. Okay. Garbage, recycling, whatever you want to do with it. I have no idea where my garbage is. So, we'll put it aside for now. Down there. Done. Moving on. Salmon. You don't need to be delicate with it, especially if it's pre-barbecued, pre-bought, and it's not even spiced. I'm going to add a little spice. Not that it really needs it, because I mean this is not what I'm serving tomorrow. It'll be fresh salmon, but just for my own taste, to give myself an idea of what it's going to be a bit more like, closer to the flavor. Okay, so I'm sure this is really boring, me fidgeting with this. But that's reality. That's... oh, there's a tear line. Okay, so that's reality right there for you. Okay, so let's move on. I'm the messy chef. Okay, moving on. Now, we apparently have a grinder in this. I have no idea what is going... Okay, so that comes off. Well, we just do like that. A little bit there. A little bit for good luck. Most of the salt. I don't know. Anyways, grind, grind, grind. Grind, grind, grind. Good. So, that's out of the way. Wonderful. Ah, scissors for this. Don't have scissors. Doesn't matter. There. Gone. Another one. Tear. Gone. Now it should open. Right? Now, so what I have here, spices. Of course, I have... well, as soon as I can open it, I'll have it. Okay. Tear. There we go. Moving on. So, of course, I've got Hungarian paprika. If you can figure out what that's all about, well, good for you. Okay, moving on. We have one of my other favorite spices, cumin, as I used to call it in high school. And I guess still now. Cumin, for those of you who care about proper enunciation. There it is. Pronunciation. What is with me today? Shouldn't have taken all that heroin. Okay, moving on. Fuck a duck. So, next. Salmon. Right, so we got a lovely piece of salmon here. Not much marinade, really, it doesn't need it. So, take off the skin, of course, because who wants to eat skin? Well, I guess Hannibal Lecter might want to. Okay, right, so, like I said, I don't really have any place to put this, so, on the floor. There, moving on. Next, so, always have a cloth handy, ladies and gentlemen. Now, knife, knife. No knife, I'll be back. Okay, right, knife, very good, knife. So, remember, this is going inside of eggs. You do not need very large pieces. Now, for the most part, it should be scaled out. However, there are a few still in there that you might find. Make sure you get those out. Nobody wants scales in their mouth. It's not enjoyable. That is so delicious. Okay, I think that's about right. Okay, so what we want to do, it doesn't necessarily have to be nice, doesn't have to be pretty, just like my first date at prom, but it has to do. Right, you're not really going to see it anyways, it's going to be inside. In that case, it's not about the visual aspect. So, we are just going to cut this up into pieces and have our way with it, as we all would like from time to time, don't we? Okay, so here we are. Found another one. Be careful, you might find plenty of those. You know, it's a hard one. I mean, I'm sorry if I get some in there. Live with it. It ain't that bad. There's worse things. There's worse things I could do. Da, 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 da. Okay, none of that. No musicals. Nobody wants to hear me sing. Okay, so delicious. That's what she said. Right, now, as you can see... Oh, I'm not joking. I mean, I got salmon on the floor. Right, okay, so... Salmon on the brain, salmon on the floor. What's going on? Okay, so, now, here we go. Moving on. Stella! Right, so, salmon here. We're gonna continue cutting this up into smaller bite sizes right here. Right, that doesn't even really need to be cut because it falls apart. Right? A salmon should. Now, I can hear the eggs boiling away. No, they're not boiling. Doesn't matter. We're moving on still. Right, so we've got that going. Now, what we want to do is do a layering here, okay? Now, cream cheese is, well, sort of cheesing. As I choke on something spicy. You're going to start with your cream cheese, which in French should be fromage de crème. I have no idea. Crème de fromage, fromage de crème. It's actually fromage à la crème. There we go. In Hungarian, well, there's sajt, that's just cheese. I don't know cream cheese in Hungarian. Nem baj, majd visszajövünk oda majd később. Right, so bonjour, je m'appelle Attila. What else do I know? What other language do I know? Ich, ni, san, chi. I don't know. I study all sorts. Or you could say, what else? No. What is it? The cheese of cow, the cow of cheese, or whatever else you'd like. Then, of course, you're gonna add mayo, creme de sucre, paprika, your cumin, horseradish mustard, or at least that's what I prefer, and then a little bit of dill, and we're going to come back to that. In all seriousness though, wash your hands before you do any food-related cooking, prep, anything of that nature. Floor garbage. It's very important, it's unhygienic not to. I really should have let this come down to more room temperature, but hey, what do I know? Let's spoon this baby. Sour cream. Delicious, one of my favorite things. I know that was not a Sound of Music quote, thank you very much. And for those of you who might think that, well, you can understand why I might do that. Look at my history, you'll get it. Okay. Now that I've sufficiently put food everywhere, but where I should be, we get to lick it up. And I just ate a hair. That's nice and gross. That's not a hair, that's dill. Oh, okay. Now we're gonna add a little bit of dill to the mixture because, heck, why not? Look how beautiful that looks right there. That's gorgeous. Dill is powerful. You don't need that much. There, that's enough. You can always adjust later on. Now, next, paprika. Oh, you know, that's one of my favorite things is to add all these different spices because the colors blending together. I mean, it is just... And it's going to be like an orgasm in your mouth, trust me, and everybody's going to be invited. Everybody. That reminds me of college. Oh, those parties. No, I never went to college. Just dropped in for the parties. Okay, so now we got that. We're going to add a little bit of pepper to that mix. Right? Don't worry, we're getting there. Now, actually, you know what? Let's add a little more lemon because, of course, salmon tastes great with lemon. Who doesn't like lemon? So, we've got that out of the way. Right, next, a little bit of mustard. So, you know, now we're cooking, we're good. Look at this, now we're making something delicious. And this is horseradish, so in this case, that's all I'm adding because it is very spicy, right? Oh, I'm gonna have some more. See what happens. Let's take a moment to watch the chef potentially injure himself. This is a big spoon. Right. Oh. 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 I can breathe. Oh my god. Yeah, of course if I did that... Oh, that hurts. I can feel that in my stomach. Now, of course, if I did that with just horseradish, I'd probably be calling 911 right now. Oh. Okay. Oh. Salt. We need salt. There we go. That gorgeous or what? Okay. Finger licking good. Now, what you need for that, best way I found, take your avocado right here, go in with a spoon, little work at it, there we go, and you've got it. Our eggs are officially boiling, so we want to give it 10 minutes. I don't have a watch here. Let's find out. Remember, it's got to fit inside, so you don't want to make them too big. Right, just enough that they can fit. Small little squares. Now, also a good way to keep them from browning, add, it's a great pickup, add a little lemon juice. It's a party and a half. Right, so we've got salt, we've added that. I'm adding lemon juice, 1 for flavor, 2 I don't necessarily want it to go brown. However, doesn't really matter, it's going to be inside. If you can't see it, who cares? It all comes out the same way. And I'm not just talking about gravity. The baby tomatoes start to lag behind a little bit. The papa tomato went up to him, squished him, bam, said, catch up. I know. It's funny. Okay, moving on, tomato, potato. Hey, so this guy walks into a bar. Ouch. Anyways, guy walks into a bar. Into a bar, right? Sits down at the bar, and he asks the bartender, hey, can I have a beer? What else do you do when you're in a bar? Asks for a beer. Sits down. Bartender gives him a beer, right? So that's good. Oh, hang on. Be right back. Intermission. We're back. Yeah, intermission. I have no idea where that came from. Okay, I forget what I was doing, but we're back. So, guy walks into a bar. Ouch. He orders a beer, sits down, gets a beer. Someone says, hey, you're looking good today. Looks around, doesn't see anyone. Goes back to sipping his beer. Hears it again. Hey, muchacho, you're looking fine today. He looks around, couldn't hear it. Throughout the night he keeps hearing this. Hey, senor, you're looking very nice today. You're very handsome. It goes on. Even the French put a word in there. Hey, tu es beau, monsieur. Very nice. So, he asks the bartender, hey tender, were you just telling me I look good? Bartender looks at him, and he says to him, sir, I wasn't telling you look good today. No. You might want to look again. So the guy looks up with his drink and says, well, if you didn't do it, who did? He hears it again. Hey, you're looking good today. He looks down and he notices it's a bowl of peanuts talking to him. Guy's like, hey, what's the deal with the peanuts? Well, they're complimentary. So, now that we've done that terrible joke, moving on! Okay. Hey, while we're telling jokes, here's a quick one. Guy walks into a gay bar, he orders a drink. Bartender says, sorry, you can't have a drink till you make up a name for your penis, because everyone in this bar has a name for the penis. Oh, okay, give me a minute. Guy looks to his left and says, hey buddy, what's the name of your penis? Guy says to him, mine's called Energizer, because it keeps going and going. Okay, looks to his right. Hey, buddy, what's the name of your penis? I call it Nike. Yeah, why is that? Because I just do it. Guy thinks for a minute, what do I call it? What do I call it? Bartender comes back. Bartender says, hey, so you got to name for your penis. He's like, yeah, I call it secret. It's like, secret? That's not very interesting. Come on, can't it be more original? What's the thought behind that? You got to tell me because I want to know before I get a drink. He's like, well, it's called secret because it's strong enough for a man, made for a woman. Guy gets his drink. And probably a lot more else that night. Okay, that's a different story. Kids go to bed. Okay, so, we got tomatoes, we got avocado, we got dill. Capers. Not opening the capers yet because I'm not. You can if you want. I could care less. Okay, moving on. Now, your mixture that you had going on earlier, right? I want to do, put the lid on it, put it... Actually, no, we're not putting it in the fridge. I was going to put it in the fridge. But no, in my case, I'm not putting it in the fridge because of the fact the cream cheese has not gotten to room temperature yet. So therefore, it's going to make it a lot harder for me to mix up. So, I'm leaving that out of there while I am feeling some heartburn from that horseradish mustard. Whew. I'll balance it out with some lemon juice. Delicious! I just put lemon juice in my mouth. That's acidy. If the heartburn wasn't bad enough, oh my gosh. Great, chef's gonna die on live. It's not live, it's YouTube. Well, I guess no one will upload this. No, I'll get my girlfriend to do it. Okay, moving on. And I'm gonna get back to you after this short, brief commercial break from our sponsors. And I've yet to think of a funny line for that, so, fill in the blanks. This is where the theme music would naturally cue in. Oh my god, I've got mustard everywhere. I got 35 eggs, right? You're gonna split that in half, each one. Now I'm not sure exactly how this happened, but somehow I forgot to boil one egg. I don't know how it happened, but it's sort of left out. Anyways, whatever, so be it. We are moving on to other further exciting adventures. Where's the eject button?
There's none, you have to do it manually.
Oh, what the fuck? Right, so now that we've got all these eggs cut up and whatnot and thrown in there, right, now you need some salt. I've added salt. Right, salt is very important. Salt brings out the flavor in foods, right? So, and it gives, well, basically it gives flavor. Because right now there's nothing in there. There's no flavor. Hello, flavor, flavor. Where are you? Hello, flavor. Ooh, right, 3D. No, it's not 3D. All right, we're gonna go right ahead and we're gonna add a little more paprika to it. Just a little bit more paprika, right? Some of my favourite spice, which of course cumin, right? Which of course is brilliant, by the way, for making vegetarian meatballs, which I make with a I use cumin, right? I use breadcrumbs and I use walnuts. Anyways, that's a whole other thing. So I'll do that one day. I'm gonna do vegetarian Italian soup. You're gonna love it, right? That's gonna be brilliant. So. Right, so we've got that in there. Right, then you want to add a little bit more dill. Not a problem. Right, there we go. Add some dill. Right, there we go. Delicious. In fact, because we're layering, lemon juice. I said we were done with it, but we can't use enough lemon juice. We can always use more. Creme de sour. Mayonnaise. I've hidden my little blending hole. Bottom, at least this one, gets the bottom part of it really smooth. You don't want it completely chunky, you don't want it completely smooth, but there it is. Right, so you've got that. Right, then you take your spoon. You've got some chunks, which chunks are great, right? Who would have thought I'd say that? Chunks are great. But chunks are great, right? So what you do is when you're eating it, it just gives this wonderful layer texture that is just delicious to chew on. It's a fun excitement in every bite. It's a roller coaster ride of flavors and all sorts of different adventures. And what the hell am I talking about? I don't know what is in this. Am I drunk? Not yet, but maybe we'll try that one day. Maybe we'll do recipe drunk. I don't know. Anyways, I know it's a little too close. It's a bit scary. We're gonna do the point of view now of the food. So keep up with me here. It's a scary ride, boys and girls. Way too close, isn't it? I knew it was. Alright, so what we're gonna do now is just gonna put that down, because who wants to see up my nose? Anyways, I thought that was a good idea. It's not a good idea. It's not. Right. Yes, I'm an idiot. Whatever. You wanna get the yolks broken up, because it's sort of, well, defeats the damn purpose in general, doesn't it? A bit more fresh ground corn. I love it. I don't like dry stuff. It's, well, ironically, corn is ground, but fresh is better. Fresh ingredients, no canned, nothing of that nature. Don't even mention that in my house, I will flip out. Right, the only sort of things that I accept that are dried is cinnamon, cumin, and paprika. You can make adjustments sort of to certain meals, but not to everything, not like this, of course. You can't say take out the dill when that's your popular recipe in general. And for all you people out there who have worked in the service industry, especially chefs and cooks, anyone in the kitchen realistically, well, anyone in general, the worst thing you can, and here's to people going out to restaurants, right? If you send your food back saying, oh, it's not that good, I don't like it, well, don't eat the whole damn plate. If it was so bad, why did you eat it? We're not giving your money back. In fact, be careful, because the next time you show up at that restaurant wanting something, you might get more protein or whatever it might be than you wanted. We're mixing, we're still mixing, of course. We're going to be mixing for quite some time now. Not sure where you're at with your recipe. If you're following along, my gosh, you're fast, because you're probably behind on the eggs. That's been at least 30 minutes. Another try. Mwah! Whatever they say. Right, so it's done. Moving on. You're just going to start with a very little bit. Now remember, you've got more sauce now than what's actually going to fill this up. Right, you've got to remember it's going to be bigger because of all the other ingredients that you have, of course, added. Right? Then, you're going to add the tomato and the avocado, which of course you've cut earlier. Right, you can add 1 or 2 pieces, right, just a very sort of touch, see, like that right in there, just sort of line them up a little lengthwise. It's a good fit, you see, very nice, it's beautiful. Now capers, for those of you not familiar with capers, they're a very salty ingredient, so you don't need much at all, right? I mean, it's very salty, seriously, especially for a size like this. So, you know, I could suggest put 3, start with 3. I mean, I'm going to give it a try first before I really serve it to anybody, but drop on 3 of these. I may end up just putting 2, just because of the fact that it is quite salty, but we're going to give it a test. Not many people like it because of the fact of how salty it really is. Right, so you've got that going in there. Right, now because it is salmon, well, bloody hell, we've got to add salmon to it. Right, drop the salmon on there. Sort of spread it out a little bit, like that. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, from that very important announcement. And don't worry, we will shortly return you to regular programming, the circumcised cobra. Right, so moving on. Last we had the salmon right on top there. Right, then what you're going to do, you've got your salmon, you've got your avocado, you've got your capers, you've got your tomato. Then we're going to take another bit, right? Just going to gently sort of cover it all up. Just like that. Right, you want to do your best to cover it all up so that so that nothing falls off. You know, this is sort of acting as a glue, sort of say. Right, there you go, very delicious sort of glue. Right, I've got that. Now just for a little bit of aesthetic purposes, paprika on top, just like that. You see what I'm doing there? If you put it sort of facing the narrower end, right, it just sort of beautifully sort of encompasses all of that, right? See, like right there, very good. Right, then what you want to do, get yourself another spoon, your French cheese here, right? See, like right there. Sorry I put that in the view. Well, you know, I'll take some of that out though, of course, right? Delicious, delicious caviar. Now, of course, you don't need much for the caviar because, well, you really don't. It's just more of a decoration. Right, just a little bit. You're taking just a little bit of a spoonful. You're just going to drop it right on top, just like that. There, done. It's finished. And there you have it. That it is for you right there, ladies and gentlemen. You've got your salmon deviled egg. Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you learned a thing or two and I hope you enjoy it and have some good fun with it. Remember, get out there, have some fun, it's a messy world. So, this is me wishing you a good night with champagne kisses and unfertilized eggs. Until next time, when I'm not sure when that will be, or exactly what I'll be making at that point, but you can bet it will be exciting. Oh, it's been wonderful. Thank you very much, miss. For the Queen! For the Queen. For England! Oh, godly. Come on. Oh.